The galaxy had many maps. Some were written on glowing screens, some carved into ancient stones, and some passed down as star charts through generations. But every single map, no matter the species or the culture, ended in the same place. A jagged black gap stretched across the edge of known space, a blank zone that no one entered and no one claimed. For centuries, it was simply called the Edge. The Edge was strange. Ships that tried to enter often lost contact. Their signals scrambled and warped. Probes went in and came back with no useful data, only static and fragmented images that made no sense. Planets that seemed to change shape, stars that shifted positions, signals that canceled each other out. Many believed it was a natural anomaly, a region of space so unstable that even light itself bent the wrong way. Others whispered it was something else, something made, but nobody truly knew. That was why the Galactic Council finally decided to send an official fleet. The fleet consisted of 12 ships from 6 different species, each chosen to represent a piece of the galaxy's proud unity. They were not warships, though each had weapons for defense. They were research and exploration vessels filled with scientists, diplomats, and soldiers. To the Council, this mission was not only about knowledge, it was about proving that the Council could solve mysteries together. That cooperation was stronger than fear. At the head of the fleet was Commander Vaynar, a tall, silver-scaled Sorin. His species had evolved on a world of shifting oceans and storms, and his narrow eyes gave him the look of someone who had spent his life studying horizons. He stood on the bridge of his ship, staring at the swirling emptiness ahead. "This is it," Vaynar said softly. His voice carried through the bridge, calm but edged with tension. The place that generations called untouchable. The crew did not answer. Around him, the control stations hummed with quiet activity. Navigators tapped glowing keys, scanning for stable flight paths. Engineers whispered to each other about energy fluctuations. Even the soldiers at the defense station sat stiff and alert, their claws or tendrils or hands hovering near the controls. On the main view screen, the Edge looked like nothing more than darkness. But it was not the usual dark of space. It was thicker, heavier, as if the stars themselves refused to shine there. The borders shimmered faintly like heat rising from a desert road. "Signal the fleet," Vaynar ordered. "Formation 2. We go in together." The fleet adjusted itself into a diamond formation, the lead ship at the point, the others spreading out behind like wings. Slowly, they advanced toward the black zone. The first sensation was static. Every communicator on the bridge cracked with hissing noise. The translation software, which normally hummed with smooth voices, stuttered and broke into fragments. Lights flickered. "Systems interference," one of the engineers said quickly. "Not critical yet, but it's stronger than anything I've seen." The ships pressed forward. Then the sensors began to scream. One by one, red warnings appeared across the consoles. False readings flooded the displays. Stars where there were none. Planets that blinked in and out of existence. Gravity wells that appeared for seconds and then vanished. The navigators cursed in their own languages, struggling to keep their courses steady. "This is impossible," muttered Sierra, a thin-bodied Airland scientist. Her 4 eyes flicked across the holographic map. "It's like the data is fighting us. Every second it overwrites itself." Commander Vaynar frowned. "Stay steady. Keep recording everything. Even fragments can teach us," but then something new appeared on the sensors, not noise, not a false reading. A signal. At first it was faint, a pulsing wave hidden beneath the static. Then it grew stronger, repeating in a steady rhythm. The translation systems worked furiously, breaking the signal apart, rebuilding it again. Finally, after long minutes, a single word appeared on the screen. "Humanity." The bridge fell silent. The word was unfamiliar to most of the crew. A few shifted uncomfortably, whispering to each other. Only Sierra, the scientist, seemed to recognize it. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "I have seen this word in ancient archives. Old fragments, barely readable. A species recorded long ago but never confirmed. Some said they vanished before the council even existed." Vaynar narrowed his eyes. Vanished? Or hiding? The signal continued to pulse. "Humanity, humanity, humanity. Could it be a warning?" asked one of the soldiers. Sierra shook her head slowly. "Or a marker? Like a name carved into stone. This place belongs to us." Before Vaynar could respond, alarms shrieked across the bridge. "Object ahead," shouted the navigator. "Massive structure." On the view screen, the darkness shifted. Something emerged from the void. an enormous station floating silently in the black. It was ancient, its surface scarred and pitted yet still intact. Towers and rings stretched from its body, like the bones of some forgotten beast. Strange lights flickered along its edges, not bright but steady, like eyes watching them. The fleet slowed to a crawl. Every ship trained its sensors on the station. "It's not like anything I've ever seen," Cira whispered. "But the design. It looks deliberate, defensive, as if waiting for intruders." Vaynar clenched his jaw. "Open a channel. Send greetings. Let's see if it listens." They sent messages in every major galactic language. They sent simple tones, mathematical sequences, signals of peace. The station gave no reply. It only floated silent and watching. Then, without warning, the station awakened. Panels along its surface slid open. Dozens, no, hundreds of objects launched into the void, glowing faintly as they moved. At first they looked like debris, but then they changed formation, spreading into wings and spirals. "Drones," barked one of the defense officers. "They're armed." The fleet braced itself. Shields went up, weapons powered, engines flared. The first wave of drones closed in, and suddenly the silence was gone. The void exploded with fire. The drones were fast, far faster than anything the Council fleets had seen. They moved like predators, cutting through the formation with perfect coordination. Their weapons were brutal. Simple kinetic rounds, not energy bolts, yet so powerful they ripped through modern shields as if they were paper. One Council ship was torn apart in the first seconds, its hull cracking and spilling fire into the void. "Counterattack!" Vaynar roared. The fleet fired back, beams of plasma and arcs of lightning striking the drones. Some fell, torn into pieces, but many more adapted, dodging with inhuman precision. It was a slaughter, but not of the drones. The Council ships were the prey. Cira's voice shook as she watched. "These drones, they're ancient. Look at their designs. Outdated, crude, yet they are overwhelming us." The horror sank into the crew. If these were only machines left behind, what kind of power had the creators possessed? The signal pulsed again through the chaos. Humanity. 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 The battlefield burned in silence. Wreckage floated in the dark void, glowing faintly from fires that refused to die in the vacuum. The Council fleet was broken. 2 ships destroyed, 4 heavily damaged, and the rest scattered. The drones, however, had withdrawn just as quickly as they had attacked. They did not pursue the survivors. They returned to the massive station, forming neat lines along its surface, like soldiers returning to barracks after a drill. Commander Vaynar stood on the bridge of his ship, his silver scales dim in the flickering light. Around him, the crew worked with trembling hands, patching systems, sealing hull breaches, tending to the wounded. The sound of hissing vents and alarm tones filled the air, a chorus of survival. "Report," Vaynar demanded. His voice was calm, but inside his chest his heart thundered. The navigator's voice shook. "We lost the Illyra and the Kreental. Both destroyed. The Voran is crippled, life support failing. The Kashar is badly damaged but stable. Casualties?" The answer came from the medic, her tendrils curling tightly. "Hundreds, Commander. Perhaps more." Vaynar closed his eyes for a moment, then straightened. "And the enemy?" The tactical officer hesitated. His hands hovered over the glowing display. "None destroyed. Some damaged, but they repaired themselves. During the battle. Pieces of wreckage reattached, holes closed. It was like fighting a living swarm." The bridge fell silent again. The only sound was the steady, pulsing beat of the alien signal echoing through the systems. Humanity. 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 It was like a heartbeat, steady and calm, as if mocking them. The station after the battle. The fleet drifted closer to the station, though every instinct told them to flee. The colossal structure loomed ahead, ancient but awake. Its surface crawled with faint energy patterns like veins glowing under skin. The drones perched along its edges like metallic insects, their weapons dormant but ready. Cira, the Aerolin scientist, sat at her station, eyes fixed on the data streaming across her screens. Her thin fingers tapped quickly, trying to pull meaning from the chaos. "These systems," she whispered. "I've never seen anything like them. The material of the station doesn't match any known alloy. It's self-repairing, self-regulating. The architecture, it's not just functional. It's defensive. Every line, every angle positioned as if for war." Vaynar turned toward her. "And the word? The signal?" Cira's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "Humanity," It must be their name. The species that built this, one of the soldiers snorted. If they built this, then where are they? Dead and gone. Only machines remain, Sierra shook her head. No, this feels like a border marker, a wall, not abandoned, guarded. Her words sent a chill through the crew. The inside after long debate, the council decided the risk had to be taken. One of the surviving ships sent a small shuttle to the station, carrying a mixed team of explorers, scientists, and guards. The shuttle flew carefully, guided by trembling hands, toward a massive open bay that yawned like the mouth of a beast. The shuttle entered, landing softly on a platform that lit up beneath it, as if recognizing their presence. Inside, the explorers stepped out, weapons ready. The air was breathable, though stale. The walls stretched high above them. Metal and stone fused together in strange patterns. Symbols lined the corridors, sharp, bold shapes, clearly a language. But no translation software could make sense of it. This place, whispered one of the guards, a feathered Varkon. It feels alive. They moved deeper, guided by flickering lights that activated one by one as they passed, as if leading them somewhere. Finally, they reached a massive chamber at the heart of the station. And there they found it, a core, glowing faintly with power. Around it, floating in the air, were thousands of sealed capsules, each marked with the same unreadable symbols. Some were shattered, empty. Others still glowed as if something inside was waiting. Sierra approached one, her eyes wide. She touched the glass-like surface. Inside was a figure, not quite visible, not quite awake. Humanoid. Impossible, she breathed. They're here. They never left. The awakening, as if triggered by her words, the core pulsed. A wave of energy rippled through the chamber. The explorers staggered, clutching their heads as voices filled the air, deep, echoing, layered with strange tones. The translation system struggled, stuttering and breaking apart. Finally, a phrase emerged. "You are not welcome here." The explorers froze. The capsules began to shift. Some opened slightly, venting mist into the air. The figures inside stirred, their silhouettes sharp against the glowing glass. "Commander," the shuttle pilot called through the communicator, panic in his voice. "The station is moving. Power levels rising. I think we've woken it up, and get out of there." Vaynar's order thundered through the comms. The explorers ran, sprinting back through the corridors, chased by the pulsing lights and the echo of the voice. "Leave. Leave. Leave." They barely made it to the shuttle before the station shuddered, shaking as if something vast had stirred within. The bay doors began to close, but the shuttle blasted out at the last second, racing back toward the fleet. Behind them, the station's surface glowed brighter, its drones lifting into the air once more. The Council's fear back on the flagship, the survivors told their story. The room was heavy with dread as Sierra described what she had seen. "They're not gone," she said. "At least not all of them. They're in stasis, sleeping, waiting, and they don't want us here." The officers muttered among themselves, fear and disbelief in their voices. Some argued that the humans must be extinct, their machines simply running on old commands. Others, shaken by the battle, whispered that no extinct species could leave behind defenses that powerful. Commander Vaynar listened silently, his eyes fixed on the view screen where the station floated like a silent predator. Finally, he spoke. "Send word to the Council. Tell them exactly what happened here. Tell them what we've found. And warn them, if this is only what humanity left behind, then the galaxy has never seen power like theirs." The crew fell silent. Outside, the station pulsed once more, and the signal spread across the stars. Humanity. 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 It was no longer just a word. It was a warning. The galaxy held its breath. The Council fleets had regrouped after the disastrous encounter at the edge. Ships limped across space, patched and weak, their crews exhausted, their pride shattered. Rumors spread through every sector. A station at the edge of the map armed with defenses no one could match, and a name repeated across signals. Humanity. No species could decide whether to fear or to hope. Commander Vaynar watched the void from his ship's bridge. The blackness of the edge stretched before him, endless quiet, but he knew it was waiting. His sensors, strained beyond capacity, detected nothing alive, nothing moving. And yet, he felt it, something vast and intelligent, something patient, and then the silence broke. The arrival it began with a whisper on the sensors, a faint blip, too small to be a ship. Then another, and another. One by one, dozens of contacts appeared at the very border of the edge, moving slowly but deliberately. They were sleek, angular, and scarred with old battles. The fleet commander held his breath. "They're coming," muttered Syrah, her voice tight. Commander Vaynar didn't answer. His jaw was set. Every instinct in him screamed that what approached was unlike anything the galaxy had ever faced. Then they were fully visible. Hundreds of ships appeared from the darkness, moving as if a single mind controlled them all. Their silhouettes were human, familiar yet alien to the eyes of the Council fleets. Each ship bore scars of war, blasted armor, burn marks, and patchwork repairs, but they moved with perfect synchronization. Their engines glowed a soft blue, calm and deadly. The Council fleets panicked. The smaller species scrambled, trying to form lines, but there was no preparation for this. No one had ever seen fleets like these, and no one had survived the station's drones unscathed. A single transmission cut across every channel. "You have come to the edge of our map. You are late." The voice was calm, commanding, unmistakably human. Clear, confident, and unyielding. Humanity speaks. The Council attempted to respond, sending messages in every language, every tone, from greetings to threats. The humans did not hesitate, nor did they falter. Their answer came again, this time in a voice that resonated in every channel. "We have been watching, waiting, learning. And now, you stand at the border. What will you do?" Every species in the room froze. There was no arrogance, no insult, only certainty. The humans had not come to beg or negotiate. They had come to be understood on their terms. Vaynar, voice tight, addressed the human signal. "Why reveal yourselves? Why now?" A pause. Then the answer. "Because the galaxy has forgotten the rules of survival. Because your peace is fragile, and because we do not forgive easily." The humans had been forgotten. The galaxy assumed they were extinct. But they were not gone. They had turned inward, perfecting themselves, learning, surviving in the shadow of the void. Their station, their drones, their weapons, all of it was only a fraction of what they had built in isolation. Testing the galaxy before any discussion could begin, the humans demonstrated their power. One of the Council's largest warships, the Trellian Vanguard, attempted a cautious approach toward the human fleet. A single pulse of energy from a human vessel disabled the Vanguard's engines without harming the crew. The ship floated helpless, lights flickering, weapons offline. "This is a warning," the human voice said. "We are capable. We are precise. Do not mistake our patience for weakness." Council species scrambled to respond. They fired, hoping the humans would hesitate. But the beams of energy barely touched the human ships. The humans moved with impossible coordination, dodging attacks before they were fully launched. Their tactics were unfamiliar, unorthodox, and terrifyingly effective. "It's like they anticipated every move," muttered a young officer. "They're reading us before we even act." "Yes," Syrah said, staring at the tactical display. "They have studied us. They know our technology, our strategies, perhaps even our weaknesses." Humanity's history, finally, after hours of tense standoff, the humans addressed the Council directly. Their commander, Admiral Kalen, spoke with calm authority, voice amplified across channels. "We were once betrayed," he said. "Allies we trusted abandoned us. Wars we fought were used against us. We withdrew. We chose isolation. We built, we prepared, and we waited. We survived while the galaxy assumed we were extinct. And now the galaxy has returned to chaos." There was silence. The truth of his words resonated. Countless species remembered wars where alliances fell apart, where civilizations were crushed by their own greed. Humanity had learned a lesson the galaxy had forgotten. Trust was fragile, power was dangerous, and patience was the ultimate weapon. Kalen continued, "We have seen empires rise and fall. We have observed your councils, your fleets, your treaties. You are fragile, corruptible, and yet, some of you are still capable of growth. That is why we come, not to conquer but to guide, to test, to decide if this galaxy is worth saving." Fear and all the council fleets were paralyzed. Many species whispered among themselves, debating whether to attack or to flee. Some saw the humans as gods, beings of unimaginable skill and intelligence. Others feared them as monsters, weapons of destruction capable of wiping entire sectors from existence. Vaynar stood on his bridge, silent. His mind raced. He had seen fleets destroyed, stations awaken, and technology beyond comprehension. But these humans, they were something else entirely. They're not just a threat, Ciro said softly. They're a standard, a measure. Everything else will be judged by them. The statement hung in the void, uncomfortably true. The first demonstration then came the first demonstration of humanity's restraint, or perhaps their strategy. Pirate factions in nearby sectors had been emboldened by the Council's weakness. They attempted to raid supply convoys thinking no one would intervene. Humanity acted. A single fleet appeared at the scene, silent and unseen until the last moment. In minutes, the pirates' ships were disabled, stripped of power and left floating harmlessly in space. No lives were lost, no fires burned, but the message was clear. Humans could destroy fleets at will, yet they chose precision, not chaos. They are surgical, whispered an officer. Not reckless, not cruel, just perfect. The fleet's awe turned to fear. If this was only a demonstration, what would they do in a real war? The choice. By the end of the day, the galaxy understood one fact. Humanity was back. They had returned from the forgotten edge, not as a relic of the past, but as a force capable of rewriting history. Admiral Kalen's final message to the Council echoed across every channel. You may fear us. You may misunderstand us, but you will respect us. We are the watchers at the edge, and we will act only when necessary. The question now is simple: will you be prepared? Vayner looked out at the black void beyond the edge. The station still pulsed faintly, drones perched like silent sentinels. He realized something he had not before. The humans were not just a species. They were a judgment, a reckoning, and the galaxy would never be the same. The message repeated across every system, every fleet, every settlement at the edge. Humanity had returned. The galaxy trembled. News of humanity's return had spread faster than any starship could travel. Markets froze, councils debated, and fleets shifted nervously in anticipation. Every species felt it. The balance of power had changed. No longer was the galaxy safe in its complacency. Humans, thought extinct or irrelevant, were back, and they were stronger, sharper, and infinitely more precise than anyone had imagined. Yet humanity had not attacked. Not yet. The Council divides in the Great Chamber of the Galactic Council. Representatives argued fiercely. Holographic displays projected the human fleets, the station at the edge, and the wreckage left in previous encounters. Send ambassadors, offer trade technology alliances, demanded Councillor Varen of the Trillion sector. His voice was sharp, urgent. We cannot fight them. We do not understand their strength. You call them allies? Hissed Zalrin, a spiny species from the Crescent cluster. They could destroy every fleet in this room in a heartbeat. Every ship, every station, every settlement. They are dangerous. We strike first or we die. The humans are patient, Ciro said quietly, standing near the Council chamber's observation window. They are not reckless. Look at what they did to the pirates. No unnecessary destruction. Their power is a tool, and they wield it carefully. They are a standard. A measure. Her words fell on deaf ears. Fear was louder than reason. Councillor Varan banged his fist on the table. If we hesitate, they may consider us unworthy of survival. Vayner, seated beside her, shook his head. Perhaps that is exactly what they are testing. The pirate's lesson: not all species waited in debate. In sectors near the edge, pirate fleets thought the humans were a myth, stories told to frighten weaklings. But humanity's warning came quickly. A pirate convoy attacked a supply hub on the outskirts of the Trillion sector. They expected little resistance, but within hours human ships arrived. The pirates saw them first. Sleek vessels gliding silently from the darkness, engines barely glowing. Before any shots were fired, communication channels opened with one clear message: leave. Now. The pirates laughed, thinking the humans would hesitate. Then the first ship of the convoy stopped. Its engines locked. Weapons deactivated. One by one, every pirate vessel succumbed to the same effect. The human ships moved slowly, deliberately, herding the pirates like fish. Not a single life was lost. Not a single unnecessary strike was fired. When the fleet was immobilized, the humans opened a secure channel. You are free to leave. But know this: next time you will not survive. The pirate leaders surrendered. The message was clear. Humans could destroy any fleet in seconds. Yet they chose restraint. The galaxy watched in awe and fear. The war of decisions back in the council chamber, chaos reigned. Some species argued for immediate alliance, hoping to gain favor. Others called for a preemptive strike, afraid of humanity's unmatched power. Every faction had its own agenda, and no decision could satisfy all. Vaynar leaned close to Sira. We cannot act hastily. They are watching. Every move we make is recorded. Every attack, every surrender, every hesitation. Sira nodded. They are the measure, and we are being judged. Outside the chamber, fleets moved nervously. Alien commanders debated their strategies, unsure if they should attack, retreat, or negotiate. Some even suggested creating a blockade to cut off the edge, unaware that humanity's ships could move through the void undetected. Humanity's message. Then Admiral Kalen spoke again. This time his voice was broadcast across every major channel simultaneously. It was calm even, but carried an unmistakable authority. We are not here to destroy without reason. We are here to observe, to guide, to decide if this galaxy deserves its continued existence. We will act only when necessary. Every action has consequence. Every choice has weight. Do not test us, the words echoed through the void. Species trembled at their simplicity. No threats, no insults, only measured, undeniable power. And the message was clear. Humanity could strike, and if provoked, they would. Tests and challenges, for weeks, humanity's fleets moved silently along the borders. They intervened in piracy, stopped illegal weapon trades, and neutralized threats with surgical precision. In each case, no lives were lost unless absolutely necessary. Yet every species knew that this was a demonstration, a warning, and a test. Council members debated endlessly. Some wanted to negotiate, others wanted to build alliances. Many wanted to strike first, but no one dared risk the humans' wrath. The galaxy had never faced such uncertainty. Power coupled with restraint, intelligence paired with unmatched precision. Vaynar watched the news feeds, the reports from sectors near the edge, and realized something profound. The humans were reshaping the galaxy not by conquest, but by presence alone. They are teaching the galaxy without firing a single shot, he whispered to Sira. Every leader, every fleet commander, every politician, they learn what it means to wield power responsibly. Sira nodded, fear and admiration in her 4 eyes. And every failure, every act of greed will be judged. We are on notice. The rising threat, despite humanity's restraint, some species could not resist temptation. A coalition formed, uniting war-hungry fleets to attack the human station at the edge. They believed that by striking first, they could destroy the threat before it fully awakened. The attack began in the dead of space. Dozens of ships approached the station, weapons charged, confident that numbers would overwhelm. But as they closed in, the station reacted. Defense drones deployed instantly, moving with inhuman speed and coordination. Weapons fired not blindly but at weak points, disabling ships without destroying them entirely. The coalition fleet realized too late that they were outmatched. The human station itself moved subtly, adjusting angles, reactivating long-dormant systems. Shields flared, engines surged, and in minutes the attackers were trapped, immobilized, or forced to retreat. The humans did not pursue. They allowed the surviving ships to escape. But the lesson was clear. Any attempt to challenge humanity directly would fail. Every act of aggression would be answered, with precision and efficiency, leaving no room for misunderstanding. Reflection. In the aftermath, fleets withdrew, and councils debated again. The galaxy had been given a choice: submit to humanity's guidance, learn from their restraint, or risk destruction. Vaynar sat alone on the bridge, staring into the black void beyond the edge. He thought of the fleets, the pirates, the coalition, and the humans' calm yet deadly power. They are not like us, he said softly. They are not just another species. They are a standard, a challenge, and they are patient. Too patient. Sira stood beside him. They are testing us. Every fleet, every leader, every empire. And they will decide who is worthy and who is not. The fleet commander sighed, knowing the truth in her words. Humanity had returned not as conquerors but as judges, and every choice the galaxy made, from alliance to war, from greed to restraint, would shape its own survival. The choice at the edge, the station pulsed softly, a beacon of silent power. Human fleets remained in the shadows, watching, waiting. The galaxy had been given a choice: Act wisely or test the limits of human patience. Admiral Kalen's words echoed again across the stars. We act only when necessary. Every choice matters. Choose wisely. The message spread across sectors, fleets, and councils. It was a warning, a lesson, and a challenge. The war of choices had begun, not with guns blazing, but with the quiet certainty that humanity's return would change everything. The void was quiet. For weeks the galaxy had waited, watching, debating, and fearing. Every species knew that humanity had returned, not as beggars, not as conquerors, but as judges. Every fleet, every council, every civilization trembled under the weight of human presence, and now, the final test had arrived. The coalition strikes despite the warnings. A coalition of alien powers, fearful, proud, and desperate, decided to act. They gathered the largest fleet ever assembled, combining warships from 6 empires, dozens of battle cruisers, and hundreds of smaller ships. Their plan was simple: strike the human station at the edge and destroy it before the humans could expand their influence further. They called it a preemptive strike. On the bridges of the coalition fleets, commanders shouted orders, their voices filled with both courage and dread. Weapons charged, shields braced. Every species hoped their combined power could overwhelm the humans. But they underestimated the patience of humanity. Humanity responds. From the darkness beyond the edge, human ships emerged silently. Not in panic, not in chaos, but with precise coordination. Hundreds of warships, each scarred by old battles, moved as one mind. Their engines glowed a soft blue. Their weapons radiated power restrained only by choice. The coalition's sensors registered them, but it was already too late. Admiral Kalen's voice cut across every channel. Calm, unshakable, commanding, you were warned. You were given choices. Your fleets and your pride have tested our patience. This is your final lesson. The humans did not fire immediately. Instead, they advanced with terrifying precision, positioning their ships in a pattern that trapped the coalition without a single shot. Ships became surrounded, engines locked, weapons disabled. The coalition commanders realized too late that they were fighting not against a fleet, but against a force that had anticipated every move. The battle, when the first volleys finally erupted, it was surgical. Human weapons struck only the ships that had tried to maneuver aggressively. No unnecessary destruction, no random fire. Every strike was calculated to neutralize threats efficiently. The coalition scrambled, but every tactic failed. Ships that tried to flee were guided into containment fields. Command centers were isolated without harming crews. Within hours, the massive fleet was disabled, not destroyed. Every ship was left floating, immobilized, powerless, yet intact. From the fleet's viewports, the aliens watched in awe and fear. Humanity had destroyed their plans without spilling blood unnecessarily. Their victory was absolute, but it was also merciful. A clear message when the battle ended, Admiral Kalen addressed the galaxy once more. His voice was calm, firm, echoing across every channel, every system. We have acted. We have defended ourselves. We have shown you that power can be wielded without cruelty, and precision can replace chaos. But know this is your warning. The galaxy can be guided, preserved, or destroyed. The choice is yours. Every action, every decision, every betrayal will be measured. We will act again if necessary, and we will not hesitate. The words reverberated through the stars. They were not a threat. They were a judgment. The galaxy understood. Humanity had returned not for conquest, but to enforce a new standard of survival. Reflection and awe across every planet and fleet. Species paused. Ships that once boasted invincibility now trembled. Leaders who had argued for immediate war now considered alliance. Pirates who had thought humans extinct realized they had survived, watched and chosen restraint. Lessons they could not forget. On the bridge of Commander Vaynar's ship, silence settled. He looked at Sira, eyes wide. They are different, he said softly. Not just stronger, not just faster, smarter, and merciful when it suits them. They are the standard, Sira nodded. They are humanity, and the galaxy has been given a choice. Every civilization must now ask itself, are we worthy of survival? The dawn of a new era. The humans withdrew from the battlefield, their fleets returning to the station at the edge. But their presence remained a shadow over the galaxy. No one would forget the lessons they had delivered, lessons in patience, precision, power, and restraint. Fleets rebuilt, alliances reformed, and councils debated new treaties. But now every decision was measured against the standard humanity had set. Diplomats, soldiers, and leaders understood that the galaxy was no longer the same. Beynar watched the human station from afar. Its lights pulsed like a heartbeat. Somewhere deep inside, Admiral Kalen observed the galaxy waiting. The humans did not seek to conquer. They did not seek to destroy. They sought only to test, to measure, and to guide. And the galaxy, trembling, realized that every choice mattered. The choice remains. Some species embraced this new reality. They sought alliances, traded knowledge, and learned from the humans' example. Others hesitated, clinging to pride and fear, knowing that one misstep could bring ruin. Humanity's power remained unchallenged. Their fleets were unmatched. Their technology was beyond imagination. But it was their restraint, their measured judgment that was most terrifying. Admiral Kalen's final message was simple, yet profound. We do not act without reason. We do not destroy without cause. The galaxy has been given a choice. Its dawn or its ashes depends on how you act from this day forward. And with that, humanity retreated to the edge of the map, leaving the galaxy to its own devices, but leaving a standard no one could ignore. Epilogue: long after the battle, species would remember the day humanity returned, not for the destruction they could bring, but for the wisdom they enforced. Empires, fleets, and civilizations would rise and fall. Yet the shadow of the humans at the edge remained. The galaxy had learned at last that some civilizations do not seek to conquer, but their presence alone can shape destinies, enforce order, and teach survival. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same. The edge of the map was no longer empty. It was alive. It was watched. And it was the standard by which all others would be measured.